sure to check out the xreport.net. I repeat, the xreport.net for exclusive sports content written by yours truly and fellow X Report writers, previous episodes of our lovely podcast, and other videos on our YouTube channel entitled The X
Boy,
Report.
Ethan, aka Big E, and this is my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. I'm going to warn you guys now. A bunch of like super known and super well liked wrestlers aren't on my list. One, because at the time I started watching wrestling, I didn't see a lot of them, or they were just not on my radar. So let's get this started, shall we? Number 10 is John Bradshaw, Layfield. I just liked him because he beat people up, point blank, period. And in my honest opinion, he has one of the best finishes of all time, the clothesline from hell, because he looks like he could literally knock you out, which is hard to do in a wrestling match. But yeah, John Bradshaw, Layfield. Number 10 is Stone Cold. I mean, not number 10, number 9 is Stone Cold. And it's Stone Cold. He was, like, I mainly liked him for his out of ring antics and not his in ring antics, like matches. He was a, he was a alright in ring performer, but his stuff outside of the ring is what made Stone Cold. Number 8 is Kevin Owens. He's a great promo guy. He's great in the ring. He's also one of the more athletic, bigger men who has a non-muscular frame in the WWE, which I'm a fan of because I fall into that category of a non-muscular man, but I'm athletic. Number 7 is Kurt Angle. Like, when I was growing up, when it came down to wrestling, I was a fan of two types of styles. It was technical wrestling and it was high flying. And the first technical wrestler I drew to was Kurt and then Chris Benoit. So even though we're not supposed to mention his name. But yeah, I gotta throw Kurt there. Number what's that? 6. Number 6 is Batista. At some point I became a fan of the big, super strong, brute type of dude. And Batista was the man that I liked the most because at that point in time he was super strong. He was pretty decent in the ring. And he just had like a charisma about him. And like the way he dressed, the way that he talked, you kind of could not like the dude unless you just don't like Batista, basically. Number 5 is Jeff Hardy, Brother Nero. I mean, Jeff Hardy made me want to jump off of everything that I saw. Like, I literally did a couple swanton bombs off of things that I'm not gonna mention when I was a kid because of Jeff Hardy, and he's just like I honestly disassociate Matt because I don't care for Matt. I'm mainly a Jeff Hardy guy, so yeah, he cracks my top 5. Number 4 is CM Punk. Like, for me, it was CM Punk became a prominent mainstay at a time when the wrestling really got dull because you didn't really have some of the bigger names like Triple H and Shawn Michaels. This when they were like out, and this is the point where everybody hated John Cena, so you didn't really have like a star that everybody could get behind. And lo and behold, here comes a guy from Chicago, Illinois by the name of CM Punk, who, in my opinion, has cut one of the top 5 greatest promos I ever heard when he dropped the pipe bomb. And he wasn't bad in the ring. Like, he actually was pretty good. And yeah, Punk. Number 3 is Edge. I wasn't a fan of early Edge when he was actually skinny and was considered a high flyer, even though he really wasn't a high flyer. I was a fan of the Rated R Superstar Ultimate Opportunities Edge. Like, he was him and Randy Orton were the two guys that made me understand and appreciate the value of a great heel. Because up until being a fan of those two, more so Edge than Randy, I hated heels. I was like a kid. I had the kid's mindset where it's like, oh, if you consider the good guy, I'm a fan of you. Then insert Edge, and I was like, yo, this dude's pretty dope. I like him, and he had honestly top five greatest entrance music of all time. I still listen to the song to this day, and he was an icon, and I hate that his career got cut short. Number two, The Undertaker. I The Undertaker was I had a mixed bag because unlike a lot of people, I'm not a fan of the dead man gimmick. I felt like it was cheesy. I didn't like it. I dealt with it because I liked his in ring style and the way he performed in the ring. Me, I was more of a fan of the Big Evil version of the Undertaker. That's the version that I like. That's the version that always strikes a picture in my head is him coming down to the ring on that big chopper and hitting people with the last ride. And he was great because it was like a believable gimmick. I could see him actually being that person outside of the ring. And number one is the ultimate underdog in Rey Mysterio because he's my favorite wrestler of all time because when I first started watching wrestling, I was a child. My favorite thing to do at that point in time was to watch karate movies and watch Power Rangers. So you insert a little 5'6" dude in bright primary color mask doing flips and stuff around the ring. I'm thinking he a Power Ranger. So I obviously gravitated towards him. And the fact that he broke barriers in the WWE also helped it because in my opinion, he was like the first real legit little guy that actually got like some traction in the WWE. Yeah, you could say some people like Shawn Michaels or no offense to Shawn, he's great. But some people might consider him like the first smaller guy to like make it far. But y'all gotta realize Shawn Michaels was 225. Rey Mysterio was 165. He's legit tiny. Like, and the fact that he was the smallest man in the company at that time, and could he could put on a match where he could believably seem to beat these bigger people was amazing. And the fact that he did beat some of the bigger people was amazing.